Hi makers! Today we have a video of how to stitch a whip stitch, and we're going to be demonstrating on poly fleece. So first we're going to take the two pieces and we're going to put them right sides together. We'll be stitching along this upper edge here. You can see the wrong sides are showing. So we are going to use a regular sewing needle with a double length of thread. It's knotted at the end. And we're using a contrasting color for this video so you can see the stitching a little more easily. We recommend that you use a color that matches your fabric. So we're going to bring your needle through the back of the two pieces, from back to front, through both pieces of fabric. Pull the thread tight. You want to make sure that knot is right up against the edge of your fabric and that you're not going too far in. We want to leave a very, very narrow seam allowance. For your first stitch, you're going to take your needle back to the same side you started on and you're going to bring it back through the same direction. When you're doing the whip stitch, it's that exact same movement over and over again, that back to front. So there's our first stitch. You're going to keep repeating that back to front. That's the stitch motion. Make sure that you keep your thread out of the way as you work. Now we're going to speed this up a little bit. So you can see that back to front motion happening and keeping that thread out of the way. Now when you're working on a puppet and you're trying to keep that seam allowance nice and tight and make it very invisible, you're going to want to keep your needle really close to the edge and try to catch just a little bit of the backing. The less fabric you can have in your seam allowance, the better when you're hand stitching. You're going to continue that stitch all the way down your edge till you reach the end. So now that you've reached the end, you're going to be tying off your thread. The method that you see here is just one of many methods of how to tie off thread. You just want to make sure that you keep your thread tightly knotted close to the edge of the fabric so that you make sure that your stitches don't come undone. And unlike the baseball stitch or the ladder stitch, you want to keep these stitches tight as you're stitching them across. You can see that nice whip all the way across the top edge there. So here goes the knotting. Always knot your thread at least twice. This is what your seam looks like from the inside or the wrong side of your fabric. And this is what your seam looks like from the right side.